Welcome to our garden here in Zone 6A, upstate New York, and welcome to the full September garden tour. We can't wait to share with you how we keep our garden looking fresh throughout the end of the season and how we keep color alive using annuals, roses, hydrangeas, and more. Our garden started back in 2018 when we built our home here on a half-acre suburban lot. Let's get started by jumping into these annuals right here that are alive with pollinators. This is Verbena bonariensis grown from seed mixed with Rockin Playin the Blues Salvia. Now, what makes Verbena bonariensis so amazing is that it will reseed itself around your garden. The pollinators love it. It comes back year after year, and it is a beautiful, light, airy, wispy texture. Just beware, once you plant it, you'll always have Verbena bonariensis all throughout the
Oh
garden.
yes, I only planted this once about 3 years ago, and it does spread. I will say, very easy to remove those seedlings though.
For sure. There's even some, Christopher, right at your feet. There's one growing in the gravel.
Oh, see, there's that late season color we were just talking about.
Now, Christopher, if you swing around this way, I just want to point out one thing. As we go through the garden today, I want you to pay attention to the garden vignettes we've created. And we've kind of provided ourselves with some guidelines of design within the garden vignettes to help with cohesion throughout the entire garden. And it's really super simple. It's something lime green or chartreuse, something green, something bluish, and something purpley reddish foliage with an evergreen. So keep that in mind as we go through the garden today, because you'll see it in every spot that we visit. And I think that really helps tie the entire space together. So starting here, we've got our lemon coral sedum, which is an annual for us, but I love it how it brings that bright pop of chartreuse and low level to the front. We've got our midnight wine shine burgundy foliage. This is a nice shrub from Proven Winners Color Choice Shrubs. Weeping white spruce, one of my favorite evergreens. It stays super narrow and it's supposed to get about 20 feet tall eventually. And then in here, we have a sprinter boxwood, which have done very well for us, I'd say. At first, when they were younger, they did splay quite a bit, but Christopher's been really good about keeping them well pruned and creating that branching
They
habit.
take well to the pruning.
They sure do. And then right in here, which we are letting go to hip, is a trio of Tottering by Gently Rose. And it's a rose by David Austin that's supposed to have some of the best rose hips on the market. So this last flush of blooms, we just let go. Wow, the butterflies are out this morning. They are loving this Verbena bonariensis and Rockin Playin the Blue Salvia. This is Let's Dance Skyview Hydrangea. It's a continuous blooming big leaf hydrangea. It's a new introduction from Proven Winners Color Choice Shrub that flowers all season long, from June clearly through the end of September.
It's wonderful. It's been such a great addition, and watching it continuously rebloom has been wonderful. You can tell it's definitely slowing down now.
It is, but the blooms are aging beautifully. We have been deadheading it. At one point, we were trying to make a hydrangea swag for the front door, so we caught a bunch of blooms off at that point in time. So there would be more if we hadn't done that. You'll also see doing very well this time of year in our garden are sun patience. They're really holding on.
They're a workhorse. Like they are, you know, they might not be your absolute favorite plant you've ever seen, but they are going to give you nonstop color.
They sure will. Also, look at that. The Sensation honeysuckle, highly fragrant, non-invasive, yellow flowers that then produce red berries, and the birds love them.
They go bonkers.
Let's Dance Lovable Hydrangea. There's some Osteospermum here. This is an annual from Proven Winners. Oh, mixed with some Kufia that reseeded itself from last year. These are going to get pulled out eventually because they're annuals, and we'll replace them with 2 more Let's Dance Lovables. So we can have a hedge of 3 Let's Dance Lovables with a hedge of 3 Let's Dance Skyview, and then we can really compare them to each other. Behind that is Boscabelle, one of my absolute all-time favorite David Austin roses. Highly fragrant, beautiful color, healthy foliage. Big fan of that.
I love that the one Bright Lights White is growing up through the Boscabelle. That's so interesting.
I wonder how it got back there too. I don't even remember planting it there.
I mean, I put a whole bunch of them in there, so maybe one of them just got interested.
Maybe. A green gable, right? That's black gum?
Yep, Tupelo.
Tupelo. And I had limbed it up this year. Down here you can see And then once you start limbing up your young trees, they will shoot up new growth. So you want to do it when they're young. It'll encourage upward growth, and then keeping that limbed up makes them easier to like walk around and stuff. So
yeah, and this tree is so beautiful. The fall color on this, I can't wait till the next time we share this tree because it's going to look like it's on fire.
I think it'll be beautiful. Christopher, back up and we'll go up the other side.
That is okay. This is also one of those times of year where the light certainly does change and the sun's lower. So we are doing our best to keep those shadows down as we share the garden.
Roses, believe it or not, really do thrive in the late garden season. And for us, this might be one of the few times where all of our roses are blooming at the same time. Maybe not as prolifically as they do at their first flush in the spring, but they are doing pretty well. This is James L. Austin. I wish I had a super fresh.
Oh, right in the back, there's one.
To show you.
Of course, it's he's a violent rose, I would say. Yes. He's got a lot of thorns.
Very pretty
Beautiful color.
James L. Austin, nice and healthy. Our quick fire hydrangeas holding on to its color very nicely. I think every fall garden needs an anemone, and this is Fall in Love Sweetly anemone. It's a pink anemone. It can handle full sun to part shade, and in our garden, I would say it gets full sun.
Yeah, it definitely has more than enough time to call this full sun.
Pinky Winky hydrangea, got that beautiful pink color. Now our Autumn Joy sedum is floptastic this year.
Yeah, we didn't Chelsea chop our Autumn Joy, and even if it doesn't look like it needs it in the early season, Autumn Joy sedum needs a Chelsea chop.
That's one of the things that we have to remember to do next year is Chelsea chop Autumn Joy. So what that means and what that does for us is back in like June, late May, it'll have probably put on this much growth. You'll just cut it to the ground. It'll branch where you cut it, and it'll give you more flowers, little shorter stature, and it might bloom a little bit later in the season, but it'll prevent it from flopping because the stems won't be as long.
And of course, it's called the Chelsea chop because why, Eric?
Because it happens at the same time as the Chelsea Flower Show over in London. This is a killer annual in the ground. This is believe it or not, a heliotrope called Augusta Lavender. And it's really firecracker in the garden. It is nonstop flowers all season long.
And it's genuinely nonstop. It doesn't lull once.
Also nonstop. Easy peasy, oh so easy peasy rose. What an interesting color. Teeny tiny roses. I love the way that this color pops against the dark burgundy of the Newly Noir Coleus, which again plays against the blue of the Tromnar blue spruce. Artist Blue Floss Flower Ageratum Hybrid. This is repeated all throughout the garden. This is a must-have annual for us. We do have to purchase it every year. It's not something that reseeds itself, or you can buy seeds for it. It's something that you would have to invest in every season, but I think it's well worth it. And then we're kind of having fun experimenting with golden evergreens, and this is one of Christopher's favorites.
I love it. Anna's Magic Ball. It's a perfect bowling ball shape. It's not, I mean, it's gonna get a little bigger than that in time because evergreens, of course, don't stop growing. But the combination, even of the white of the next flower we're gonna talk about, is so beautiful.
Superstar this year, brand new, planted as little courts in the spring. These are incredible storm-proof hydrangeas. They have been bred to have stronger stems to stand up to the rain that we get here in the Northeast. We get torrential downpours. And sometimes your arborescens hydrangeas can flop in the rain.
Sometimes.
Usually. The only ones I've encountered that don't do that are Invincible Sublime and Invincible Spirit 2, and now Incredible Stormproof.
And we actually had a very long drought condition stretch for about, what, 3-4 weeks of no rain. And then we had a record
4 months almost.
Yeah, we had a record 3 inches of rain in one day.
Yes.
And yes, they're small, so, you know, they're close to the ground anyway, but my goodness, did they stand up nice.
So eventually they should get about this tall.
Yep.
3 to 4 feet tall and wide. This is probably 3 feet off the ground, right? Yeah. Rockin Playin the blue salvia. Again, you can see it's covered in pollinators. And then that back of the border, we repeat what's already been up there with the quick fires and the pinky winkies. More of that heliotrope here. This is a different type of sedum, but it's still flopping. So
yeah, it's
a floppy year for sedum, I guess.
Yeah, it's a tiny sedum. It's the Rockin ground series, and it still has a little dent in the middle. It kind of looks like a bagel.
Yes, a bagel or a donut. Jensen urn filled with tons of different annuals, but the one that's really holding on throughout the entire season is Verbena pink cashmere. So an annual that's going to take you into the fall. Would definitely recommend Verbena pink cashmere. Also recommend that heliotrope, and you really can't go wrong with a Supertunia Vista series petunia. This is Supertunia Vista Cool Jazz. I think it might have a little budworm damage happening.
A little bit of budworm going on.
Yeah, let me show you what that looks like. This means that it has been eaten by the budworms.
Yeah, something got in there and ate that.
Yeah, so there would be more flowers if we were spraying for budworms, but at the end of the garden season, you forget sometimes.
Of course, but Can I just give a shout out to another, well, Cool Jazz comes out next year, but also coming out next year is Supertunia Mini Vista Pink Cloud.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I see that. I see it here.
Yeah, there's definitely the wormy damage, but the color, like that has really fought back against the very vigorous Superbena. So I'm impressed that that has held on so nice.
Speaking of super vigorous, look at this Lark Ascending Rose.
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous. I adore this rose. I like that it's like big, and I love that it's floppy, and I love the color, that it's open, the pollinators can get in there. It's really one of my favorite roses. We have 3 of them throughout the garden. Firelight Tibet Hydrangea, you'll see throughout the garden. More flopping Autumn Joy Sedum. And then this is a really cool corner. Christopher, I don't know if you can just get this angle that shows everything. It shows the bluish grass with the golden yellow of the lemony lace elderberry, the green and white of the Jackmantii birch, and then Christopher's pride and joy this season, the purple castor bean that he grew from one seed.
That is one single seed. I have brought some gloves home, and I have a little baggie. I'm gonna try to collect seeds from this plant because it's incredible. I purchased 8 seeds from Etsy this spring, and this is a single plant. The trunk is probably a 2.5-inch caliper at the base. It's incredible.
It is enormous. And we do have it staked. I'm wondering, I can't wait to, I mean, I know what the seeds look like because I saw you taking them out of the envelope, but I'm interested to see like how they get harvested. Look under here, Christopher, I just spotted.
What?
One little Crown Princess Margareta.
Oh.
Beautiful. She's a little shaded from this castor bean this year. This is an annual, so it hasn't been here every year.
From what I've been told, in here, there should be one little seed. Oh, wait, look, look, look. Look at these things. Look how creepy that looks.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking the seeds are in that.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so cool. They kind of look like a Japanese beetle, to be honest.
A little bit. I was looking for a Litchfield angel bloom, but you know what? It's not in flower right now.
That's all right.
Lots of faded serendipity allium. Look, our icebreaker Korean fir. I don't think it made it through the drought.
It broke.
Yeah, I think it dried out. But we've got our cherry truffles heuchera here. We recently installed this hedge of Gatsby glow ball hydrangea. We made sure to hook up drip. We made a whole video about that, but that replaced our mini Malvet hydrangeas that really weren't thriving. Our hardy hibiscus are all past their bloom time, and above them is a bald cypress, one of my favorite trees here in the Northeast.
We're following the light. So we came back up here to the shade of the pagoda dogwood. This is my favorite tree in the garden. It's put on an exceptional amount of growth in the 2 years or so it's been in the ground. I love it. We had done some limbing up on it because underneath it were these Empress Wu hostas. They're massive, and they've done pretty well considering. You can see that side over here gets a little bit more sun, and there's a little yellowing on there, but they're doing pretty well considering. Below that is a mix of part shade to shade plants. We have a small rhododendron that I'm gonna try to protect this year because we've actually not had flowers for a few years. Some animal gets in there. We have some heuchera, we have some other hostas, and then below them all is Shadow Tag Heucherella. So it's a tiarella mixed with a heuchera, and it just has this really sturdy, mounded habit. It's so nice as this little kind of clean, shady hedge. Coming around here, you can see the Weeping Ruby Falls Redbud, which is purple all year round, and then it actually gets kind of an olivey green color for its fall color. Kind of backs up, it's interesting.
I think that's fun.
And then Invincibelle Sublime, This is the sturdiest, beautiful green hydrangea you're ever going to put in the garden. It comes out green and it actually transitions to an even deeper green. But to have an arborescens hydrangea this clean, this upright, at this point in the season, it's not common.
Yeah, you'll see some of our other varieties later in the garden tour that definitely don't hold up as well as this.
No, and love this. These 5 here have been such a treat. Let's walk over through here. You can see the Lady of Shalott roses, which were eaten nearly to the ground this past season.
By rabbits.
By rabbits. Shirley didn't mind. It's in such incredible condition, healthy foliage, tons of blooms. It just went through a beautiful bloom cycle and it's spilling out up on
Do we have a fresh
terrace.
flower to share with everyone?
We do, but it's up on top. Let's get there in a second, Eric.
Okay.
This whole area around our fire bowl, we wanted to feel nestled in. So we have some sprinter boxwoods for a little formality. We will likely next year be able to start shaping them into a little cute hedge. And then the other hedge we have under here is Tough Stuff Top Fun. It's a mountain hydrangea. Do we have 9 here?
There's 7.
7 of them. They've done very well. We've
Here,
got...
let me switch with you. I'll get on this side. There we go.
Is that better?
It might be better. This is always a tricky spot to film.
So this area here has been so much fun to watch grow. I love the combination of the Tough Stuff foliage, and then we've got these quick fire fab hydrangeas doing so well. They're getting so much bulk. We've put some serendipity allium throughout, and then we just recently planted an all dressed up rose. It's a kind of, what was that? Oh, it was a big, big bumblebee who's bullying out all the other bees. So this rose is going to give us huge blousy pink flowers all season long. It's a different variety we've never grown before. And then Monty Blue Spruce, which in time will be that perfect 8-foot tall Christmas tree shape, and icy, icy blue. So think about that anchored against all of these annuals. This is a repeater. This will always be here. So just assume that deeper blue purple will be here, and then we'll have the pink of the hydrangea, the yellow over there. It's such a wonderful evergreen. Let me spin back this way, Eric, and then should we do a container update?
Yeah, let's go up on the terrace.
You know, I think this might be the last time we get to share a lot of these annuals because it's the season. We're gonna be using this El Nino Catalpa in the ground. We're gonna take this out. It was a centerpiece for us this year. I wouldn't say it's the best centerpiece because it only blooms on the terminal bud of each stem. So if we were to have planted it and Chelsea chopped it and it branched out more, we would have gotten more flowers. But we really would have 1, 2 flowers at a time. And that wasn't so great. We use the Gora that's also in the ground. I find the performance in the ground to be a little stronger. It doesn't really hold that flower power as long. Plum Dandy, Alternanthera, probably my favorite foliage accent ever. Look at how rich that color is.
It's transitioned too to something much redder than it
Yeah,
has
it's
been.
like a redder purple. Earlier in the season, it was more olivey pink. We have some
Aromance pink.
Aromance pink Nemesia doing very well. So this is great. So bye, but it's this was a good one. I really enjoyed this color combo. In this small pot here, we have a lavender lady mangave. These are going to come inside to go under grow lights. Such a beautiful, very symmetrical, very clean looking mangave. It'll lose some of its color under grow lights, and we probably will water it once the entirety of the winter, but it'll be nice to have them inside anyway. Our big, huge container, let me get on this side for the shadows. We use the Jolly Good Clematis and the Rise Up Lilac Days rose as the centerpiece. And I would say the rose is establishing itself. The clematis didn't skip a beat. This bloomed its head off during its bloom cycle. It did very well. And the rose is just now kind of saying, hey, I was transplanted and next year I'm gonna do great.
I've been trying to keep it tied up to the obelisk, but it's just, the growth rate is so fast.
It's so fast on this one because it is a climber, but a small climber. So it's appropriate for this size trellis, or if we added one more rung up if we needed to. But really, it is a climber, so it's going to put that speed on. We have bluebird nemesia, more of that aromance. We also have more of the Verbena pink cashmere. And what we have learned about this particular container is to make sure you pair the vigor of your plants properly. The Verbena pink cashmere is a vigor of 4, meaning it's going to take over everything. And I have to look, I have a feeling the plum dandy's only a 3, but it's done such a nice job. I think it's really intermingled nicely. So a plant that we didn't get to give a lot of love to this year is Double Delight Blush Rose Begonia. This plant is in both of the previous 2 containers, but look at how gorgeous these flowers are. Beautiful foliage. It just does not have the strength to hold up against the more vigorous plants.
And I think it likes the cooler weather more than it likes the warmth.
It does. I think it's just spectacular. I'm really happy that it's having its little moment here. There was a Super Bells here that got a little bud wormed, and by a little I mean completely.
We've got to stay to that spring schedule next year for sure.
Here we have the Space Age Black Hole Rex Begonia. I think I'm going to try to save one because it can come in as a houseplant. And this is Meteor Shower Verbena. It is a smaller version of the Verbena bonariensis that is sterile, so it will not seed itself all around the garden. We also had added an echinacea in here that I'm hoping has made it through so we can plant it in the ground. And this Punkhill Japanese maple has been a wonderful centerpiece for this container, but it is going to get a beautiful place in the garden in just a week or 2. It's going to be going in the garden, I think, on the east side of the house, and it's going to be providing us with that texture, but also the darker color up against some greens and blues to keep that vignette concept going. In here, you'll notice some of our houseplants went in. We had some nights in the 40s, and houseplants don't like that. But our hanging baskets have been one of the most successful we've ever done, with the Summer Wave Large Violet Terrenia, with the Rockapoco Apple Blossom Impatience. There is also a pink Chablis Lamium, and then a fern in the center. The pink Chablis Lamium, that'll be going in the landscape. It's a perennial for us. But just in general, it's a very pleasing, soothing combination. And what's fun about these plants that we paired together, this comes in blue, white, and pink, as well as the violet. The Rockapoco comes in all different colors. And there's a pink and a purple version of the pink Chablis Lamium. So we have all these different ways we could mix them together and get the same color effect.
Yeah, we're still in disagreement as to what next year's annual color theme should be.
Yeah. We have a large version of that container here with a Kimberly Queen fern. We have tried to come up with a solution for this fern. Unfortunately, there is nowhere in the universe that we have to put this fern. And since it was so inexpensive early in the season as a very small plant, we are just gonna probably repeat a new small plant. And again here, look at this sweet potato vine. This is Sweetheart Shadow Storm sweet potato vine. It comes out next year. This variegation is so beautiful. What a gorgeous combination. We hopped inside for a few minutes, so the light might be a little bit better actually. But before we go down off the terrace, I want to point out these awesome new finials. The Cliveden finial from Campagna International finishes off the terrace wall, looks awesome. It's such a great addition. But let's go down to the patio down here. We added in another one of the Pascal urns. We have the 2 over here with the Cascade Green Hydrangea. And this we added in these really cool, incredible genetics pansies that are all frilly. This was the Antoinette collection. I really like some of these.
I think they're cute. Why is that container so crooked?
It's because I had run drip to this container and I reburied them. So I think I messed that up when I was doing the burying the drip line in the stone. But let's take a look at the raised beds. The elevated beds, we've learned even more this year. Every year we learn a little bit more and have a little bit more success, and clearly not the greatest success.
I mean, I would say those tomatoes are pretty tasty.
They're pretty tasty. We did have to pull a few things. We're gonna check on the status of these carrots soon.
Let's check on them now, because I was cleaning these out the other day and I saw some bulging carrots.
Should I take this one? This is a big one here. Oh my gosh. It's a huge one. That's
hysterical.
No, it's a special kind of carrot that are rounder. I chose them because
Wait, I put a tag in there, I think. Or maybe
Did
the
you?
tag just says carrots.
I think it just says carrot. But these, they're rounder carrots because I thought instead of long, skinny ones, we should try these. It was a French name. I'll look and see if I can find the name of it. I'll
yeah,
pop
because
that
the
on the
beds are so
screen.
shallow.
Yeah. So we actually, from the looks of things, we have a carrot harvest to do.
Oh, cool. All right, well, bury this one back, and then we'll come back and grab it later.
Okay, it'll be happier in the ground. And I really wanted a Rosy Sensation Thunbergia vine. The flowers are pretty, but my goodness, the vine is ugly. Now, down this way, you'll see our holding area. We've got some more hydrangeas, a couple trees, some grasses to go in the ground still, but it's been really nice having our drip running through them. I did this little makeshift drip line just so that we didn't have to come out and water these all the time. Another lark ascending rose here on this end cap. These are a really good rose. I'm excited. I have a feeling it's gonna get really big going into next year, but I think, Eric, you should take us through the west side.
Sure. So as you come past this morning light miscanthus, you have a choice of going towards the front of the house or coming over this way to see the Pondless waterfall, which was just installed this past spring. Framing this path, we have a couple of hydrangea varieties. So there's 3 hydrangea varieties right here. This one is Little Lime Punch, which gets about 3 to 4 feet tall and wide. It's a paniculata variety that blooms on new wood. And you can see that it does transition to a beautiful dark pink color. Over here is a newer variety called Powerball, which again is a paniculata variety. But what makes it different is that the flowers are more round shaped, hence the name Powerball. And then Christopher, if you back up, we can see one of my favorites, pufferfish, which I think is so cool because I like the big, airy, cone-shaped flowers that it has. And then as the flowers bloom, they put out one little extra puff on the end.
And the fact of the fact that these do not transition to pink is a very unique feature.
That is something I always forget to point out, is this is one of the very few paniculata varieties of hydrangeas that doesn't transition to pink as the season progresses. And remember, paniculata variety of hydrangeas will only change to pink if you start to experience great swings in temperature between day and night as the season progresses. So if you live in a hotter zone where that doesn't happen, that's probably why. The other tree we forget to mention is this Carolina Sweetheart Redbud tree. This is getting very established. Planted only 2 years ago as a little whip that came folded in half in a box. It's really starting to find its shape, and I'm excited about it getting established in this spot and creating more shade for that shade area back there. So, continuing this way, lots of annuals in this space. Because this is a new garden space and we planted smaller shrubs, we wanted to fill that space in the meantime with annuals, like this Picardy Pink Gara right here that was filling the space around the Powerball hydrangea and the Midnight Blue Caryopteris. There's also, believe it or not, a Firefly Oriental Spruce tucked in there, just a little baby version. We're waiting for that to grow, so we filled in with Verbena, Meteor Shower Verbena, and a purple fountain grass. Something that's not an annual but a perennial for us is this native to New York ironweed. Very pretty. We have a native species of that further down in the garden. More annuals. We have this daisy. This is Bright Lights Pink. I don't know if this is a repeat for us.
No, it's a very pretty flower. It's in and out of bloom, and it's a pretty big chunk of it we have here. So I think in the right application, it's a great annual, but not necessarily for us here.
Up top, putting on a ton of growth this year, which I'm surprised because it was just planted in the spring, is Ice Dragon. It's a Japanese maple that we're going to prune up and train to kind of open up and cascade like an umbrella over the Pondless waterfall. Shading the Pondless waterfall a bit will give us an area to do more shade perennials, some shade annuals, and it will also help reduce algae in the Pondless waterfall because the algae does thrive in the full sun. This giant cascade of Supertunia Mini Vista Indigo is starting to really succumb to the end of the season. It's definitely past peak. It had a little bit of budworm damage on it, but it's still got some color going on into the fall. What do you think, Christopher?
Yeah, I love it. It's been such a nice experiment to try 20 supertunias in the ground. They stayed pretty tidy. You can see that Eric did a really good job with the string trimmer, tidying them up on the border.
Can't be afraid to get that string trimmer right in there. Also, look at the little gemstone hinoki cypress. That's supposed to get about 1 foot tall and about a half a foot wide, and it's almost there. It grows very, very slowly. I thought that'd be so sweet. Lots of fun little experimental things in the water that I'm not sure will repeat, like the baby tut grass and the coffee cup alocasia we might as well have done nothing with because it really didn't thrive in the water.
It did not do well.
But what did thrive as an annual here is this sweet potato vine. This is another one of those shadow storms, Sweet Caroline Sweetheart Shadow Storm, which was up there on the terrace. Also the iris. I think we're gonna leave that in there over the winter to see how that does.
And if not, we have some in the back on the berm that we're gonna be able to take and add more if we need to.
And just like our in-ground irrigation sprinkler system that we have for the lawn, this Pondless waterfall will also have to be shut down for the winter season. What that entails, we don't know yet because we've never done it before, but we'll take you along for that journey. But the drip irrigation that we have throughout the garden, we don't have to do anything for that for the winter. We just leave that as is. To my left, we're gonna have a big change here coming up soon. This is a purple pillar rose of Sharon. This is coming out this week. We're gonna give it to a friend who has a hedge of these to add onto her hedge, and we're replacing it with one of those trees that Christopher just went through on the other side. Diana contorted larch, which is a conifer, a deciduous conifer. So it produces cones, but these needles drop to the ground after it turns bright yellow in the fall.
And
really
you
sweet.
can see from this angle actually why we're getting rid of that Rose of Sharon. They are competing.
Yeah, this is not the form it is supposed that it's advertised to have.
It's a little more large vase as
Yeah.
opposed to a pillar.
And it's kind of messy. And we have other roses of Sharon in our garden that we prefer. Down here is another thing that's getting replaced. This is Veronica. I can't remember the exact name, but we're pulling it out and we're putting in hydrangeas because why wouldn't we add more hydrangeas? But come this way. Sun Patience still going strong. Really a nice annual for us. Down underneath our bench, I had added a little bit of creeping thyme, which I think has grown in very nicely. There's some annuals like this Rockin blue suede shoes right here throughout the garden. More verbena. Estacia Vi doesn't have a flower on it right now to share. Aromance pink nemesia. More meteor shower verbena. More traditional verbena. I think we have a little bit of a vole or a mole happening right here, Christopher.
Is that what's happening? There's like some disturbance in the grass.
Something is running from the pond to the garden. Something's going back and forth. It's creating a tunnel. I don't know what we're going to do about that. If you have ideas of what to do about that, leave them in the comment section, please. Arctic Jade, Japanese Maple, both this one and the Ice Dragon will get bright, intense orange in the fall, which I think will be really pretty. There is a super dark jet black Dervilla right in there. I'm not sure if you can see that, Christopher, but that's a cool foliage. Lots of monarchs floating around right now on the verbena and on the Rockin Playin the blues. There's a beautiful one right here, Christopher. I don't know if it'll stay long enough for you to zoom in. But our garden is filled with monarchs at the moment.
Of course, they're over near the butterfly bush as well.
Yeah, really enjoying the verbena and the butterfly bush. Speaking of butterfly bush, Pugster Blue butterfly bush. A different type of castor bean. This is a red castor bean. It's an Impala castor bean, also grown from seed. I think I prefer the purple one.
So do I, because these get what look like little Elmo tufts on it, the red bloom. I did see one when we were in Michigan that had a pink bloom, and I think that might also look cool. It is so distracting right now.
I know there's so many butterflies.
Butterflies
everywhere.
and bees. It's a really nice little spot to be in the garden.
Another Jensen urn, but instead this one is the small Jensen urn, although I do think it is still quite large. We planted it up last weekend with some asters and pansies and curly kale.
And actually, it's kind of nice to be able to see what the Jensen looks like because it's not swallowed by Superbena.
I like the simple shape of it, and this is on the Barnett pedestal, which is a little bit smaller than the Greenwich pedestal on the other one. A nice drift of At Last Rose behind it. A trio of cotton ball phyllictrum, which I'm not sure if that'll stay there. I'm not sure it warrants this like high vantage point spot because it isn't an all-season performer, so we'll have to consider that. What is an all-season performer for us, though, is this ironweed. This is called prairie princess, and this is the native species or cultivar of the earlier mentioned ironweed. And this is the max size of it.
It's really nice.
More
Nice purple
compact.
color.
Yeah. Flowering right now, reminiscent crema rose, a small shrub rose that has enormous, highly fragrant flowers on it. And back behind that, it looks a little bit of a mess right now due to the drought all season, but there is a hedge of Arctic fire red twig dogwood and a quintet of avalanche birch, which I'm excited to see grow and balance out this group of birch right here.
And you realize that that avalanche probably put 3 feet on this one season.
Yes, that grew a ton this season. A little tater tot arborvitae in our urn right here. What is, this is some sort of grass that has gotten in here that we forgot to
Oh,
pull
it's a
out.
sparkly grass. Interesting.
Yeah, pretty either way, but that's a weed. But you know, sometimes weeds are pretty. Ooh, maybe I'll mention that way quick first, and then we'll go down the berm.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, catmint. Of course, we have a lot of Walker's Low catmint. I recently unearthed these Nye Bevan roses from the encroaching Rockin Playin the Blues and Rockin Blue Suede Shoe Salvia that were around them. They're basically laying on top of them this time of the year. So I went and cut it back. So you can see it looks a little sparse underneath, but now that they're getting full sun again, they're gonna be fine. And Christopher, look at the Tickle Creek birch.
Oh, we've been talking about what was going to happen with that. It is fully naked,
Yeah.
except for that little tuft on top.
It's a nudie patootie underneath there because that was also fully enveloped by the Rockin Playin the Blues and the Blue Suede Shoes. So I think it'll be fine based on the fact that the top has foliage on it. Well, we got to pay better. It's so hard in the spring, you know, because you get those little quarts and you forget how big they're going to get. So next
I
year,
know.
fewer annuals in there. More catmint. This spiderwort, we're also just gonna pull. I think we were toying with relocating it, but I mean, look at it.
You know, it's
not our vibe.
It's not the vibe, and I think it may just be something that is not cited correctly, but in the interest of finding things that we really love, I don't think it's
Yeah.
gonna be hanging.
But I do love that Japanese white pine behind it. That's one of my favorite evergreen structures in the garden. It's really pretty. Speaking of Japanese maple, another Japanese maple. This isn't a Japanese maple, just kidding. This is a paper bark maple. You can tell by the bark that looks like paper.
As it peels away.
And a square of sweet romance lavender underneath.
Eric, when is it that we're going to be limbing this tree up? Because I know it's due to be limbed.
It is due to be limbed. So I was looking at it just yesterday, and I was thinking, because you want to limb your trees when they're young, and these are too low. And I was thinking, well, I would take this one, which means I'd have to take this one, which means
Probably that one.
that one, which would mean this one, which would then mean this one, which means it'd be like super naked just to here. So it would look really funny just for 1 year. So maybe in the wintertime, January, February, late February, early March, we come out here and we limit to here. And then what'll happen is it'll put on a ton of upward growth next year. That's the plan.
I think that would be a good spot to have it limbed anyway.
Yes. What do you, that plan for
Yeah,
like late
I think that's a
winter?
good, because we shouldn't do it now, right? This isn't the right time for that.
I don't think so. I mean, the hard thing with maples is if you do them too late in the spring, their sap is running. So you don't
Right.
want to do that, and that attracts insects and things like that. So you want to do it while the sap is still. So we'll do some research on it. I mean, maybe fall is a better time. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Right, well, maybe we'll consult some arborists out there who might have a perfect time.
True. So we did redo this area of the bed probably last week or the week before. I know we made a video about it. We have our boxwood and our spigelias in front of our green giant arborvitaes, our giant drift of Amsonia, storm cloud Amsonia. One thing we forgot to mention in that video, when you're cutting your Amsonia, it does have a sap in it, a very sticky sap. And that's one of the things that makes it deer resistant, is it has that goo inside of it. And you might remember in that video, I was kind of covered in sticky sap by the end, and I forgot to talk about it. But that is one of the things that happens when you're dealing with Amsonia. Our little limes have been relocated. They now have drip, so they should be doing better than they were. And then,
Also, this is not a permanent drip situation. This was the temporary get them on
yeah,
drip
get
for
it
the
through
season.
the fall. We're leaving the middle front open for annuals for next year. We have our trio of Let's Dance Lovables, a trio of reminiscent yellow roses, and I'm really impressed with how this one is recovering. The one that was trapped in transit for over a week, recovering very well. Our Litchfield urn with a little aster in it. Over here is a Princeton Century Ginkgo with more romance lavender underneath. Morning Light Miscanthus, and then all of this stuff here, we got to make sure to get it on drip next year, because if we have another drought summer like we had this year, I don't think some of this stuff will survive. There's this gorgeous turkey grass right here, Bluefoot.
Black Hawk's blue stem.
Black Hawk blue stem. See, I wasn't even close. Serendipity alliums. This is a Rose of Sharon that normally does much better for us, but this didn't have drip on it, so it's just a little bit
The
sad.
other thing to mention is not only did it not have drip, but we had our sprinklers reconfigured, and a lot of this on the berm was partially getting sprinklers.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, last year, that's one of the reasons we didn't have drip. One, we were worried about the pressure getting back here, but two, it was getting sprinkler from the lawn sprinklers, but we have since had our lawn sprinklers redone to only water the lawn, forgetting that the berm needed more water. Oh, I totally forgot to mention this gorgeous viburnum that's starting to put on its fall color. This is opening day viburnum. It's supposed to get 3 to 4 feet tall and wide. Obviously, it likes it here, so it's getting a little bit bigger.
It might also get a little trimming, maybe a little semi-tree form to make
semi-tree form.
Room for some of those potential additions to the middle.
Let me just take you around this way before we bump up to the front. Reminiscent reminiscent pink rose. There's one that's kind of freshish here.
Freshish. So you can see the color at least. Very pretty.
Ageratum floss flower underneath. Look at that color on the Quickfire Fab hydrangea. It is fab.
Really pretty.
I will say that. Midnight Sun Weigela is starting to put on its fall color.
This is going to be fun to see it in fall color because it's underneath the Snowfire Aronia, which also has intense fiery fall color.
And I think that takes us through all the beds in the back. I think we should head to the west side, work our way forward and around.
Back up here at the front of the west border, we have a trio of a new rose that is being loved by a bee right now. This is Flavorette Paired. Look at this kind of shell pink with the yellow stamen and bumblebee addition. This rose is so healthy. Look at this clean foliage. We are in late September and
it's
seeing
vigorous.
That. Very vigorous. We're going to be doing some, not training, but containing. And then right here is my number 6 dahlia. Number 6 dahlia is beautiful. It holds in the vase quite a few days. It has really long stems. The pollinators love it. It is not the most attractive plant. The stems at the base are like an inch thick, but I am going to be saving this. I was learning that to establish a seedling dahlia and know that it's going to be a good plant for you, you have to grow it 3 years in a row. And that's what establishes that the genetics are solid. So I'm going to be sharing this with a couple friends. We're all going to grow it for another 2 years. And then at that point, we could say, look, we have a dahlia. And I don't know if we rename it at that point or just call it number 6. I don't know. Over here, we have another rose with a little flower on it. This is a tiny landscape rose called Ringo Double Pink. It's a Ringo because it has the little dark ring in the center, really pretty. As these bush out, they'll be just sort of nice 1 to 1.5 foot tall and wide plants. Behind that is String Theory Amsonia, the closer to the native version of Amsonia. Not like the one in the back, but this is closer. And this will have a beautiful golden yellow soon in the fall, much like the Parkland Pillar Birch, which is right above it. This grew quite a bit this year, and we had a problem in the past where it didn't get enough water and it really flopped in the rain. But this year it's holding a lot nicer, so I think that's good to know. This area, obviously brand new, so there's small shrubs. The Verbena is knocking it out of the park here.
I love that.
I love this spot. There's 3 David Austin Elizabeth roses. There's actually another viburnum called Spice Cowboy back there.
Somewhere in there.
Which you couldn't see it through all of the verbena, but I can tell it grew a lot. So I'm excited about that. This is a Rocksteady Chase tree that's gonna be, oh my gosh, these bees are like having a battle right now. This,
I don't think they're battling.
Oh goodness. Well, oh my gosh. They're, The Rocksteady Chase
Get yourself
tree,
together.
it's gonna behave like a butterfly bush for us. It's gonna either die back to the ground or maybe just to the ground, like close to the ground, and we'll still get this nice sort of strappy foliage and the more kind of lilac-y panicles on there. Ooh, there's one Elizabeth bloom. Look at this flower. I love that color.
Pretty.
Really pretty. And that's gonna be a big rose soon. But the star of the front of the border, absolutely hands down, is Let's Dance Rhythmic Blue. These were very small specimens that have put on tremendous growth. New blooms coming, because these are rebloomer, but look at the size of this bloom.
It's incredible. For a rebloom, for a second flush of flower, that's enormous.
It's enormous. We did treat these to have the aluminum sulfate to get more of a blue tone, but they're coming out partially blue, partially purple with little pink in them. If they did this all the time, I don't think I could ask for anything more out of a hydrangea.
I mean, the real test is going to be how it survives the winter.
That's true. But so far, my hopes are really high on that one. This little corner here I like because it's sort of the entrance. We've had this emerald green arborvitae here for a long time. And we know that in our area, these can be deer food, but the deer have left this one alone and it's so clean and pretty. I really like that. Some more of the Gora and the Ageratum. This down here is a cryptomeria called Dinger. So it's actually a Japanese cedar and it's got the funniest little doodles on it. They're kind of soft and almost rubbery feeling. I love that texture. And that's partially there to cover up the more ugly legs of this Woolerton Old Hall climbing rose. Here's a little small past bloom, very fragrant, and it's a very vigorous climber once it gets established. So we're starting to do our training. I have a feeling we might need to train a little further.
Extend another trellis out. Okay.
It would be fine. On this side, in the ground, kind of past their prime, are more of those pink cloud Supertunia mini vistas. They did very well behaved. Lots of color all season, a little bit of budworms happening. Another of the Vitex. This is Invincibelle Ruby, right?
Yes.
Which has lost its ruby, but next year it'll probably have more color longer. Ooh, Night Ember Sedum. This was looking great till that rain, but it wasn't Chelsea chopped, so.
Yeah.
Floppy
but I do
flop.
love the color of that one.
Yeah, it's really pretty, and it looks great up against the Ember Waves Western Arborvitae.
I love that gold.
Beautiful color. And here's a Baptisia that's gone past. And as you keep backing up, Eric, we have a Claire Austin Rose with a Clematis on here, filling in nicely. This one kind of struggled for a couple years. Also very exciting, we have a Bloomerang Dwarf Pink Lilac. And this actually is reblooming for us.
It is. We just transplanted that last year too, I believe, or
It's
the year
doing
before.
so well.
Last fall.
Yeah. And it's right here next to the Wabi Sabi Japanese maple, which is from that same collection as the two that we have around the pond. This will have gorgeous color soon. And it's actually, again, for being a slow growing tree, it's putting on some size pretty quickly. So
It sure is.
I really like that.
Putting that up in the spring.
Some more of the catmint. And this right here, our Vanderwolf pine, one of the first things we ever planted, the huggable pine, it's called, because it is very soft and fun to hang out with. I just have this thought that we're going to limit here so that it eventually kind of makes a natural soft archway over the grass path. I think it would be so cute.
It would be pretty.
Really cute, very cottagey. This is a white pillar Rose of Sharon, behaving much more like the pillars are supposed to behave. Much more upright and tall with these really pretty clear white flowers. So this is gonna stay because it's doing what it's supposed to.
Although from this angle, it does look like it's splaying a bit. I wonder if we prune it up a bit in the spring, if we'll get tighter growth.
I think we should do that anyway, just to kind of keep it narrow.
Yeah.
Because we do know that Hollywood junipers, they can get quite large. And I think it'll also help fill this space up. But this
Yes.
put on a lot of good growth too. More Fall in Love Sweetly Anemone.
Wait, you missed Roald Dahl. We have a bloom.
We have we do. I didn't see it. It was nodding down. This is Roald Dahl. Look at that color next to the Fall in Love Sweetly Anemone. Really pretty. Super fragrant too. Also looks really good with the dressed up evening gown heucheras below. A Deutzia that gives beautiful white flowers in the spring and then just sort of a nice texture throughout. This is a great birch.
It is suffering though.
It has suffered. The leaves are covered in a little bit of schmutz.
It's got gall.
It's got gall. The gall of this tree to get sick on us, but we're going to treat it. It's the kind of thing where nothing's going to be done now, but next season we will make sure that it's perfectly healthy. And how that's going to happen, we'll let you know.
We have to look it up.
We have to look it up. We're going to do our research. This is a Limelight Prime in its prime. It's so lovely this time of year. Very strong stems. Some of them that are the weaker stems down here, a little bit floppy, but overall to see this level of upright on a Limelight kind of hydrangea is great considering we had that 3 inches of rain. Over here, we have Let's Dance Can Do hydrangea, which all of a sudden towards the end of the season has started putting out much more tidy growth, a little bit of these little fireworks growth.
And some fall color.
Yeah, so I'm impressed with how this is finishing the season out. For its first season in the ground, it got a little bit wonky on us, but I'm pleased with how it's ending up. So I've been calling it Let's Dance Could Do, and I think it's more about Let's Dance Is Doing. I love this grass. It's called Piglet. It's similar to a Hamlin grass that I've seen like Home Depot and big box. You always see a Hamlin grass, but this one is similar. It's called Piglet. It's a little smaller, and that kind of caps off this group of Firelight Tidbit hydrangeas. Underneath are weeping Norway spruce that I have been staking. I want to get it as tall as possible and then let the weeping happen. I don't know how much taller I'm going to get it, Eric. What do you think I should do?
I don't know. I think taller.
We'll get, as tall as we can, because it is an evergreen, so I'm not worried about those gutters.
Which way it will weep, we don't know yet.
Well, that's the thing.
It'd be cool if it wept towards you.
I have seen where people use bent rebar on the new growth, and they shape them in different shapes. So I don't know. I don't know what kind of shape we would want to achieve with that. And then Gabriel Oak Rose, which has been putting out new blooms and facing them directly at us. So this one in particular was a lot of fun because we just walked by and smelled the roses. Our house is part of an HOA, and one of the rules is the fence can't go any further up than the front of the house. With that in mind, we decided to just create sort of a green wall to continue the privacy, but also continue interest, especially in the winter. This is a Blue Point juniper. You might remember years ago, the 2 matching Blue Point junipers used to be in the containers in front of our garage. This has grown beautifully. We have some inkberry holly, some North Pole arborvitaes, the purple fountain grass, green screen arborvitae, and this is a soft serve chamaecyparis. This will get kind of Christmas tree shaped, but very ferny and a nice bluish tone to this green. But we did some great work, I think, this year on the Jane Magnolia. We're just limbing up because we want this to be a tree and not just a bush. I actually right here see this branch needs to go. And then the last thing over here, something we added a while ago. Run down, Eric, so you can see. This is a Cedar Rapids chamaecyparis. So it's kind of like the granddaddy to the soft serve, and it's right now a little bit on the chartreusey side. This is going to get quite large and just give us a really nice point of interest to kind of balance some of the stuff that's on the east.
Here in front of the house, flanking the garage doors, we have 3 Urbino planters from Campagna International. And we have the same thing planted in each one. There's a Carding Mill Rose on standard, which is starting to flower, probably its final flush. There's some orange mums, which is a wild choice for us, but you might remember that video where we did that limited choices at the garden center. Magic purple asters, some kale, and ornamental peppers. Winter gem boxwoods. Now we have a couple of different boxwoods varieties in the garden. We started with winter gems. We have a lot of sprinters. We have some green velvet. We've got some new gen. I would say the best performing boxwood for us are the new gem boxwoods. They don't bronze in the wintertime, and they have a very nice, neat, tidy shape. We have an established one up front that we can show you momentarily. But behind me, a nice hedge of artist blue ageratum hybrid, wee white hydrangeas that are putting on their 2nd flush of blooms. I had deadheaded the earlier one because they do brown out in the sun. They get a little overhead water from the lawn sprinkler. Purple fountain grass, again, an annual for us. Blue kazoo spirea. I think we're going to coppice this spring just to see how it does, because it's probably in its 5th or 6th year here. It's getting a little unruly.
Yeah, because every time you trim it, it kind of does a little branching thing. So we need to just give it the chance to reflush.
Softening the front corner of the house is a Hetzi columnar juniper. And Frederick is in the window cleaning his face. How can you resist that cute little face? Winter gem boxwoods underneath Frederick. And then more firelight tidbit hydrangeas here. I really like staggering the hydrangea blooms. These come to us later in the season. Earlier in the season, we get the Invincible Spirit 2 hydrangeas. But Christopher, back up and we can get to this grouping. This is a river birch, right?
It's a heritage river birch.
Heritage river birch, growing a ton this year. Gets lots of water from the lawn sprinklers. Now these are also wee wet hydrangeas that don't have drip irrigation on them. They just get overhead water from the lawn sprinklers, and you can tell they're not doing nearly as well as the ones that have drip irrigation on them up front. So it's interesting to see how plants grow in exactly the same environment, but the watering is different.
I would definitely say they are such a tidy, beautiful hydrangea, and they were last year when we had more rain. I do wonder if this is an opportunity for kind of capping this bed with some color.
Yes, I think we might pull the catmint for annuals next year. I'm not sure. Over here, flopping its little head off, is vanilla strawberry hydrangea. Beautiful big blooms. I got a nice deep color underplanted with surefire rose begonia, but hidden in here underneath the flop is
Under the flop.
one of the new gen boxwoods that's more established. It's probably been here 4 or 5 years. Does a great job. Improved resistance to blight, which is handy. Pampas grass, hardy in our zone. I love that so much.
I actually cut a bunch of stalks off that, so these are kind of a second flush, believe it or not.
Very pretty. Another Hetzi columnar juniper and firelight tidbit. We're repeating some of the things from the front for cohesion. Ageratum, artist blue floss flower. This is a lime Ricky cutting that I took. It's actually a hydrangea that's been discontinued, but we were able to get it to root and bloom. This was just its first year in the ground, so I'm excited. Red Fox Katsura tree. This is going to get gorgeous fall color. And the other thing that's really cool about it is once the leaves drop on the ground and they are crushed, they are highly fragrant like toasted marshmallow.
I'm so excited to discover
Really
that.
interesting.
Oh, can I just share this grass here? This is a totem pole panicum, looking very nice, filling some space. Some more of the Black Hawk's blue stem, also looking very nice.
You might notice a big change up here. We used to have a hedge of Walker's Low catmint, but we decided to replace it with something much more low maintenance, believe it or not. These are Let's Dance Skyview hydrangeas. They bloom on old wood and new wood continuous bloomers. We don't have to touch them. They'll eventually get to be about this tall. So they'll look very beautiful in front of the Vanessa Bell roses, which once they got the additional drip, have taken off. And that is a nice duo that is underneath the tricolor beech tree, which I think is also appreciating that extra water. So coming up the east side, one of my favorite views in the entire garden right now, Christopher, is this view.
Okay, duck. There it is.
Gatsby Pink Oak Leaf Hydrangea starting to put on its fall color. This had a huge growth spurt this year.
It did. You know what? It didn't get necessarily taller. It got wider and thicker.
Yeah, I am really a big fan of this hydrangea. It's super low maintenance. You don't have to do anything to it. Roseanne geraniums, teasing Georgia, and you'll hear us say it again. We should have stayed on top of it and tied it up, but we just didn't get to it. But we do have a little plan to rearrange some stuff here. There's a box with that has a bump forward, and we'll get there. Surefire Rose Begonia. I mean, how tall is that?
I think 3.5, 4 feet
3.5 feet
almost.
tall. Our columnar Scotch pine totally recovered from that sawfly larva. Right here is that lime Ricky hydrangea that I got the cutting from. It's hard to believe they discontinued something so pretty, but you can tell it does flop a little bit after storms, and so that's one of the reasons it was replaced by Invincible Sublime. This is getting overhauled very soon. This Light O'Day hydrangea is coming out. We've had it here for 6 years. It has never flowered for us once. So even though the foliage is interesting, I'd rather put something cooler there.
Yeah.
And the Brandywine Viburnum, I don't think this area in particular gets enough sun, so we're gonna pull this and relocate it back to the berm, probably on top or a friend's garden, and just make room for something interesting here. Maybe something with a dark red foliage, maybe something that we've already talked about in the video today. But come this way, Christopher. Bathsheba Rose, oh, there were blooms on it. You deadheaded it.
We deadheaded you.
Yeah. And Ragucci clematis. New gen boxwood, we just put a whole hedge of them in because they have been so successful for us. This front hedge of newly added Let's Dance Blue Jangles is a dwarf big leaf hydrangea that reblooms. I'm interested to see how that makes it through the winter. And then there's a mix of arborescens behind us. The back row is Invincible Sublime, alternating with Invincible Lace, and the front row is Incredible Blush, alternating with Incredible White. And then there's a smattering of rubies in here too. So it's an immature hedge right now. This was only its
second full season
in the ground. So next year, the year after, we should really start to see what it's going to look like. Big, beautiful Royal Frost Birch. Another Limelight Prime hydrangea. A dappled willow, right?
Yes.
Which has been limbed up. We got a little bit of a mess underneath here right now, a mix of hostas and brunnera and stuff like that. Right here is a big torchlight coleus. This is one little torchlight coleus that has grown into this. And honestly,
gorgeous.
I've broken tons of branches off mowing. So imagine if I hadn't done that, how it would have looked.
It would be a shrub.
But what I love right here, Christopher, look at this. This hedge of new gem boxwoods we installed for a couple of reasons. One, it visually tidies up the space, covers up a little bit of the legs. But as they mature, they'll also kind of act as a resting point for any of the flopping Incrediballs in front of them. Because, you know, Incrediballs can flop, which is why they made the improved Incredible Stormproof, which wasn't available back when we planted this hedge. But I really like this area here because it's a sweet little nook to sit and relax and enjoy the color blocks that the coral bells provide and the lamium provides. The other coral bells over here, nice soothing area with this Winecraft Gold Smoke Bush looming above you, the Aphrodite Sweet Shrub, all of these Invincible Spirit 2 hydrangeas, which start pink and then transition to this color as the season progresses. Little Bobo hydrangeas down here. And another columnar Hetzy juniper. Still looking beautiful. That Kinsley Ghost honeysuckle is so unstoppable next to the Winecraft Black Smoke Bush. And some Celosia that reseeded itself and came back. And I actually couldn't be happier that it did that. I think it fits that space perfectly.
It does, and it's something we don't have to plant because it's in between a bunch of other perennials. So it would be actually really difficult to plant.
Yeah, it worked its way in there perfectly. Our Eastern Redbud tree, we are constantly trimming and shaping and limbing up so that it fits into the aesthetic of the garden. And then, of course, we have our Betty Corning clematis. And look, our Generous Gardener Rose is hitting its final stride of the season.
So delicate.
And then one more really pretty thing I want to show you over here is the Metamorphosa Japanese maple. That really took to that space. It likes that dappled shade a lot.
It really does. It's looking really beautiful in this afternoon sun. If you'd like to see some of our other full garden tours from 2025, take a look at this playlist here on the screen.
Again, I'm Eric.
And I'm Christopher.
And we're Grow For Me Gardening.
Thanks for growing with us.